to Middletown's Town Hall, and I want to make sure that I include Middletown, Hidden Valley, Anderson Springs, Cobb, and everyone else that's associated.
As you speak, because I can't hear you back here.
It's going to be a tough night. Oh, this has got to be an official a politician, because he's the only one with a tie, you know. So anyway, welcome to the town hall meeting. Senator McGuire has made his appearance on the scene, and we're just going to kind of circle the field here until he gets up here. We want to thank him very much for coming. Is he sitting right here?
How you doing?
I'm doing it reasonably well.
Nice to see you. Thank you so much. Nice to see you.
We're going to get started. As I was saying, I want to welcome everyone from Cobb, Anderson Springs, Bowman, and all points east, west, north, and south, so that we don't slide anyone. The town hall represents everyone in South County in the fire district. And of course, we exclude no one that wants to come to the town hall. The only requirement is that you show up. This young man right here has the same vote as his mother. So anyone that comes can vote and participate. There's no requirement for 6 meetings or 2 meetings to be able to vote. If you have something to say, or if you want to participate, you're more than welcome. The only thing is that we ask you to be polite one with the other. We will tolerate no impoliteness from anyone. That's the way we do it here, and it's worked out very well for us. So the meeting been called to order. Approval of the minutes of the last meeting. I'll take the motion to approve. Here a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Same sign. Hearing no objections, we'll just pass it unanimously. By the Brown Act, we are required to have public comment from the community, which is basically what a town hall is all about. We limit you to 3 minutes. You can talk about any subject other than what's on the agenda. And since we only have one agenda item, and that is the senator, we're going to let you speak about just about anything. But I do want to caution you, we're going to hold you to 3 minutes, because if we don't, we'll never have any time to listen to our representative tell us what's going on in the state. So please, unless you have urgent need to inform the community what's happening, you might want to bite your tongue this time and come back in December, and we'll give you 3 minutes then. If someone speaks on an issue, then please don't repeat the same verbiage, okay? Because you waste our time, you waste everyone's time, and that is not very polite, and we want to be polite one with the other, okay? So, that being said, we'll open it for public comment, and we're going to start on this side, and we're going to go around this way. You raise your hand, and if you speak without being recognized, I'm going to tell you to control yourself. Okay? Great. Politely, of course. Okay, sir, state your name.
My name is Brad Chapman.
You got to stand up, sir.
Okay. And I would like to address the people that have lost their homes.
The what?
Lost their homes due to fire. And I'm just going to ask you to come take a look at a demonstration. And I'm here because I wanted the senator. Oh, he's on the agenda. I can't say something. I would like to take advantage of the senator and Mr. Brown to witness a demonstration, that white truck right back here. I actually have a flame retardant would have stopped this fire dead in its tracks. People could apply it to their homes. I just ask you to be open-minded, take a look at it, and if it's something that you like and you think that it makes sense, move it forward and bring it on to State Fire Marshal, PEMLOT, because I've been having some problems with getting it moved forward. And the inventor of the product is right here, Robert, and he invented it, and it's a remarkable product. And if it's not what I'm saying it is, then I will just walk away. But if you think it was something that could have been sprayed on the trees, brush, grass, your deck, your house, and saved from burning, then don't just tell me. Talk to your people. Talk to the people in your fire district. Talk to CAL FIRE. Talk to your senator. Talk to your supervisor. And it is the most remarkable thing you've ever seen. And I just ask for you to come and witness it. I'm going to ask Elizabeth to bring her camera and take demonstration video. And that's what I have.
Thank you very much. Jesse?
Yeah, my name is Jesse Robertson. I work for the Lake Area Planning Council. Some of you may have recognized me from past meetings. I wanted to announce that this last cycle, we were awarded, the County of Lake was awarded a grant for $1.4 million to fund a multi-use path from the Middletown Rancheria up to Central Park Road.
What?
So the County of Lake had received some funds to build a multi-purpose trail, a multi-use path on the south end of Middletown from the Rancheria all the way up to Central Park Road. And that's going to be probably under construction about 3 years. And I'd like to also promote an option for public input. The Lake Area Planning Council is preparing an active transportation plan, and for future projects, we need to be able to point out that the community has had some input. They've vetted, all of the community's needs and have determined, what their priorities are, and that'll assist us in applying for more funding. We actually had an active transportation plan public outreach meeting, was that last week, and we had very few people show up for that. So we were talking about maybe rescheduling at the December math meeting, and your participation is requested. If you're unable to make it, let your friends know about it, and we'd like to be able to identify some other options for funding in your community. So this seems like a good time after the fires. There's opportunities to rebuild. So your assistance would be helpful for that.
Thank you, Jesse.
Jesse, would you say a phone number?
Before you ask questions, Jesse, let me explain to you about the area plan and the region that Middletown operates and that whole corridor. 4 years ago, we started working on this with Jesse, and it takes a lot of time to get money from the government. It doesn't take them long to get it from us, but it takes a little longer to get it back. So we've been working on it very hard. This particular project, this trail, was thought about for one reason. We have a lot of kids in town that rodeo and ride horses and all of that. And without exception, all of our kids have to either go to Ferndale, Chico, or somewhere else to rodeo, because our grounds are great, but there's no place to stay. There's no place to put horses. There's no place for the competitors to stay and participate over a 2 or 3 day period. So we thought if we could get a trail, they could actually ride their horses from Central Park out to the Rancheria, rent a room. The Rancheria has accepted the idea of maybe putting temporary stalls and all of that out there so the kids could put their horses out there. So $1,400,000 doesn't sound like a lot in the overall budget, but for us, it's good news. And God knows we need some good news here in Middletown. And so we're really excited about it. And I want to thank Jesse because he's worked very hard at this. This whole thing started under Chairman Sullivan 4 or 5 years ago, Jesse, something like that. And we worked very hard at keeping it going, and the reward has been that $1.4 million, which will build that trail. So we're very excited about it, and that was good news for us. And I want to thank Jesse so much for helping us. Okay, next person for public input. Yes, ma'am? Yes.
Hi, I'm Fairlight. You might know me from Valley Fire Phoenix Rising. And I pass these out for everybody to see. These are flyers that illustrate some of the programs that we're working on. We're all about sustainability and economic development and rebuilding in a way that's environmentally friendly. So I also want to announce that on Monday night, at 6:30, we moved up the time because we get a lot of people that drive from far, far away for these meetings. At the MAC, the Middletown Arts Center, at 6:30, we're going to have a meeting about living in community, what that means. Because one of the projects we're working on is eco-villages. And so we're going to have to figure out how that's going to work. So we have experts and people with various amounts of experience living in different kinds of communities that are going to come and share their experiences and their recommendations for how to go about structuring such a situation. And the way I'm envisioning it, there's going to be bunches of these springing up. We're talking to like about 10 different landowners right now. 3 of them are real viable options. So very exciting. So if you want to entertain the idea or curious what that would be like, come on 6:30 and you can listen in and ask all kinds of questions. The second thing I want to say is that one of our programs is called Trees as Resources. And we realize that trees are disappearing like crazy. And what we want to do is capture those trees, and we're going to get a portable sawmill, and we're going to lumber those up for people, and we're going to figure out how to get stamps on them, so the ones that can be built with can be built with. And that's what we want to do for you guys. However, we need a place to store them. Boris mentioned that, Rob Brown mentioned that there was a place to store trees.
We're storing some trees in.
Is that what you wanted to talk to me about after the other meeting? Okay, well, let's make sure we connect tonight. We are looking for a place to store a bunch of trees while we get our sawmill and everything lined up and figured out, because it's going to be a bit of a log jam, if you will, to try to deal with all that. But we want people to be able to have at least their trees, because they've lost enough already, and it'd be really awesome to kind of have some of that back to rebuild with. And the final thing is just exciting, like collaboration is really key to like our group, and I'm seeing it happen all over the place, and it's really exciting that this horrible thing has brought out this spirit of collaboration within the community. And so one of our collaborations that we're announcing is we're partnering up with a new group on Cobb Mountain called CRAG, C-R-A-G, Cobb Resilient Action Group, right? Did I get that right? Well, CRAG, it's Friends of Cobb, basically, right? A subgroup of that, and they are helping out in the same, we're overlapping in terms of the educational outreach that we want to do. So all that time I've been standing up here talking to you, I'm at the expo, we're going to partner up at the expo in January.
All the way around? Yes, sir.
Thanks, Greg Vanos. We've been told that the Dollar General that they had not submitted an application. So I contacted Randy Wilson, who's a real estate developer for Dollar General, and he told me that the Lake County Planning Department has asked them to put the project on ice because of the fire. And I think right now we need, if it's not the Dollar General, then something. We need some kind of flagship out there to say that we're going to come back bigger and better, and not where we're going to claw our way back to 70% of what we used to be. We lost Harbin, we lost a lot of jobs here. We we can't have a planning department blocking any kind of economic development. We need any kind of job that we can get in this county right now. We need commerce. And if it's not going to be Dollar General, it's got to be something else, but we can't have the planning department blocking that.
I don't know whether, I can't imagine planning department does not block things. So we'll find out. Rob, do you know anything about anything having to do with Dollar General being on the Oak Island here? I've never,
That doesn't
I
mean,
haven't received nothing.
but that doesn't mean anything. I wouldn't know anything if things submitted to planning commission is done.
Yeah,
That's
it's not
They were
before the
asked to
planning.
hold off on the project. And
Pardon?
they were asked to hold off on the project,
By who?
the planning department.
I saw it in the paper.
Okay, well,
Right now, I'm looking at, am I going to invest, $500,000 in this community, or am I going to take it and go? And if I look and say, hey, they didn't have enough jobs beforehand, and now there are fewer jobs, I'm going to go, we need to see something out there, some kind of economic, not craft fairs. We need businesses, we need real industry,
Pleasure.
manufacturing.
Rather than speculate on what might happen, if you want to give me a call, I can find out for sure.
yeah, that's
For sure.
I had no information for you.
All right.
This is Shield with the Small Business Administration. I wanted to inform Matt here that our last date for deadline is the 23rd of November. Our disaster recovery center down the hall and the one at Clear Lake will close at the end of business week 23rd unless there is an extension in place. The county works with FEMA and the state. I want to report on some totals, if I may. In terms of total loans in the area, we have $14.2 million worth of loans for both Valley and Youth Fire, and in this community alone, there were 126 loans made for 107 loans for $8.3 million, of which about $1.2 million, $1.4 million were in businesses. So please keep the application process going. The economic injury deadline is the 22nd of June, but rather June. Correct. The physical damages that business might have suffered at that on the 23rd. Economic injury takes a little longer time because it takes longer to manifest. Having said that, this is my last MAP meeting I'll be attending, so I want to thank all of my Middletown members for the warm hospitality, Fletcher, Claude, Carol, Supervisor Brown, and so many of you folks have become my extended family. But it's with much sadness that I'm leaving the area. So I want to thank all of you folks for the warm hospitality you've extended to the SBA, and I'll consider you folks my extended family. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I understood that
Your name?
Anne Crane, and I understood that there were jobs going to be offered to straighten out all the clothing and sell them and whatever, there was some kind of money for jobs. And do we apply through the EDD for that? I think it was you that brought up that there was money for jobs.
I reported at the task force meeting that the Lake One Stop has received a grant. I believe it's $2 million for crews and that would do various things related to the fire. They could do debris cleanup and they could do other things. I mean, they could probably work into administrative duties in offices that are focused on recovery. I don't have a lot more detail on it. I am meeting with the One Stop Director tomorrow, and so I'll try to report out next Tuesday at the task force, or see if I can get her to be present to report on it.
Lisa Kaplan from the Middletown Arts Center. Lisa Kaplan from the Middletown Arts Center. I wanted to report that as part of recovery from the point of view of arts and culture, we had 150 people at our opening about 2 weeks ago, and I invite everybody to come and see the show on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday between the hours of about 12 and 6, Friday and Saturday and Sunday, 1 to 5. It's a wonderful show. It's all Lake County artists. Please come and enjoy your community members. And that we have lots of classes for free for people who've lost their home and very, very low cost for the rest of the community so that we can heal and process our experience through the arts on the week, during the week for children and adults, on Mondays, Thursdays, and Wednesdays for teens, and on weekends for adults. Please check us out at middletownartcenter.org or visit us on the corner of 175 and 29. There's flyers up for all the classes that we have. Come and enjoy. Come fill your hearts, fill your souls.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sally Peterson. I'm the Vice Chairwoman for Middletown Rancheria. Just wanted to announce and remind everyone that there's a benefits concert on Sunday, a blues concert that is going to go through the Salvation Army for the money that they raised in our event center. Tuesday, there is a health clinic, so everyone that's under stress, you know, you have to take care of yourself. So come by the health clinic. They're giving out free flu shots and so forth, and they're checking blood pressures and things like that. So please come do that on Tuesday. And again, Thanksgiving Day, the Santa Rosa Moose Lodge is having a charity Thanksgiving dinner, which is free. So please come to our event center and have dinner with us.
2 to 6.
Oh, there's Karen. 2 to 6.
2 to 6.
And the blues concert?
And the blues concert is 3 to 7. Yeah. The health clinic, health fair is, I don't remember that one. I think that was 2 to 7 too.
I don't remember that. Sorry.
Jeff, get anything? I'm done.
Yes, Bo.
Folks, I'm Trump, Chairman of Middletown Rancheria. I do want to address what you're talking about, being prepared to rebuild our economy here. I know as a tribe, you know, as you guys know, we're not going anywhere. We're here. This is our community. We're going to help rebuild. We have already had our banks in. You know, we have some stuff that we need to do. We need more hotel rooms. We need a convention center. We need, you know, a spa. We need a swimming pool. We need a gas station and a C-store. There's all these things that we have on the books. I will tell you that we're in, like I said, we ain't going nowhere. Our banks have already been on site. We've already had a job fair where we had 67 people apply. I think we hired 15 or 16 of those people. So we're here for the community to make sure for the long term. But we're also in the middle of a growth pattern just before, you know, the fire happened. And our banks are still in 100%. They've been here, they've toured it, they've seen our community members sifting through the ashes and are ready to rebuild. And they've seen the resiliency. So they're all in with us. And I promise you that for the tribe, we will be doing expansion here very soon. And we'll be bringing, hopefully, you know, some life to the community as far as the business stuff. We also own the Mount St. Helena Brewing Company in town. We're going to be working with hopefully SBA and, you know, upgrading that also. Hopefully we need more push. So there are a lot of things that we'll be doing on our end. But I promise you, if you stick with this community, it's going to rebuild and it's going to be better than it ever was. We'll do our best to provide the jobs and opportunities for people so they don't have to go over the mountain or out of the area. And I know that'll be helped and supported by Math, Mama, you know, the community. I think I may have missed Fletcher talking about some of the stuff, the grant stuff that's going to come forward, and or maybe hasn't even talked about it yet, but there's a lot of opportunity that will come to this area. And I'm completely on board with you. Let's get some stuff built. Let's do it right. Let's make sure everything we're putting together really comes into a real good looking community and a nice face on it. You know, the log cabin, the cultural theme that we have here, I think is really good. You know, Western log cabin look would be really nice to redo the town. There's some really neat opportunities. I just want everybody to stay focused and stay together on this because it's going to happen. And I know it's tough right now. My daughter, you know, is living in my yard in an RV, so I know what it is. My parents lost their home, so I understand the pain. But we got to get through it and rebuild. It's be the help of everybody in this room, including Senator McGuire, you know, Congressman Thompson, the Matt and the Mama groups. We'll get it. Don't leave. That's all I'm asking. Just stay with us as we move on.
Inspirational.
These are real plus for the community. Two things I wanted to bring up on public safely at my house. And now they're in light heaven. And so we're going to have lights. Hardisters has offered to some donations, and I don't know what the donations are yet. We've heard a couple rumors. But they've already ordered all the lights we need for the park. And this year, because Davy Tree Service is here with their big booms, we're going to decorate the big tree out front. And that's really important for the community to have that, those lights back up. And there was one other thing I wanted to mention, but at 77 years old, went away. So I'll have to think about it a little bit and get back to you. Is there any other public comment? Yes, sir.
Carl Parker, I'm the mobility coordinator for Lake Transit, and I want to tell you very briefly about two things. The first thing is something you may have read about in the paper. It's a new program that we've opened up. It's called the Valley Fire Ride Assistance Program. And what it's designed to do is to try and address the needs of some people we know in this community meaning the larger, South Lake County and beyond, the Rocky Fire, people displaced by the fire who maybe once lived on Cobb and were depending on somebody to help them get down to Hardisters here to get some groceries or to get to the bank or to get to a doctor and so forth. But the person they were depending on is now somewhere, maybe Canocti Harbor or Finley or Kelseyville, like I am now, and for many of those people, there may be a hardship in trying to actually provide that transportation for their friends. And the reverse may be true too. The helper miraculously survived up on Cobb or in Middletown, but everybody else is somewhere else. What this program does is it provides a 35-cent per mile reimbursement for the person from the time they leave their house to the time they go and pick up someone wherever they are now, and then take them on their errands, take them back, and get back home. And so, all you have to do is get a brochure from me, or we're putting up signs around, or you can just call Lake Transit, go to Lake Transit's website. My name again is Carl Parker. Would love to talk to you. The big challenge that we have right now is actually connecting with the people who need the service. How do you know what you don't know? So we need your help. We're really putting it out there. If you yourself know of someone, or you yourself need the help, or you know of someone, please pass the word along. The other thing I wanted to mention very briefly, and I'd be happy to answer questions afterwards. I'll just hang out here for as long as anybody wants to talk about that. The other thing is just to let you know that on November 23rd, I guess that's next week, 2 weeks. Whatever. That we're going to begin, Lake Transit will begin Route 2 service over the mountain, connecting Middletown to Kiss Corner. Lots of people have been asking about that, and so that service will be restored. And Route 3, which, as probably many of you know, connects from Clear Lake all the way over into Napa Valley. There's increased service, some additional service to help people who maybe are at Twin Pines and need to get back and forth. So thank you for your time and attention.
Hi, I'm Monica Rosenthal, and as Mo said, we do need to rebuild, and we need to stay together in doing that. And there are many things that are in progress in order to make that happen. One of the things is tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, Team Lake County continues to meet, and anybody who's interested in joining in those activities, there are several different committees that possibly can use your help or assistance if you're interested, or you can just come and listen in and see what's happening. Time 10.
And where?
10 a.m. at Twin Pine. In the event center. Yes. And then if you would like to see Shamil again, the Middletown Area Merchants Association is working at putting together a date if you're a business owner, whether you have a storefront or whether you're working from home, whatever type of business that you're in, if you would like to participate. Again, the Middletown Area Merchants is planning to pull together businesses to have, before you take off and leave town, have you come in and speak to businesses and make sure that we're on track so that we don't lose businesses.
So we can do whatever we can, and Shamil can offer, his help and assistance and guidance so that we can work towards that recovery. I can speak just a little bit to the Workforce Investment Board. I am a board member of that. We just had a meeting today. There are actually, to answer your question, there are job fairs that are happening right now being put on by the Lake One Stop, the workforce, and you should, I don't have all of those dates, there was just one that happened today. But there are two chunks of money. There is actually, one chunk is $150,000 that our neighbors to the south of us that was in a reserve fund from when they were affected by the earthquake in 2014. So they have money left over, and they've been allowed to transfer that money up here, and we can put that to use. So there is a time limit on that, but I don't know all the details, but that our Lake One Stop is planning to utilize those funds. So, and then there's another set of funds that have actually been granted $2 million to, again, assist us. There are some restrictions to the use of that money, and those details will come out, but nonetheless, we have some money coming through the Workforce Investment Board to assist us. And then the other thing is on December 12th, we have Christmas in Middletown, and we invite you all to come. And to Fletcher's comment about the lights, Redwood Credit Union has actually donated a good chunk of money to the Middletown Area Merchants Association to help with the assistance of those Christmas items and the lights. They've been assisting with that, with harvesters in order to get those lights here so that we can light up this town. So we invite you all to come out on December 12th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One thing about the Christmas tree lights, I met with harvesters today. I don't know who's from harvesters here. Wayne's here. And as always with harvesters, I said, we have some money coming in for the lights, and let me know so we can order the lights. And Dwayne from Harvesters said to his employee, just order the lights. How many do you need? Order. So that's typical harvesters and their commitment to the community. We'll worry about the donations later. Let's get the lights and get them up in town. So harvesters, one more comment from, go ahead.
I'm getting interested in playing the card. Now, I worked at DuPont for 35 years where I was very successful in doing this kind of work and was able to continue it after I was retired. So instead of doing plastics, I've been working on wood products. Now, you stop a forest fire by stopping burning embers, and the problem is that the Forest Service and CAL FIRE, no one has a test for stopping burning embers. And so all I ask is...
Excuse me, point of order. This has been addressed already.
Yes, it has.
And we really need to move forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, I promise you can speak, so go ahead.
I'll be really brief. Just a group of wonderful photographers. They're hosting an event on December 5th for anybody that was affected by the Valley Fire. It's a free portrait, prints, everything's going to be free. 2 locations, one in Cobb, one in Hidden Valley. You've seen these probably all over town. Anybody that hasn't seen them, that feels like they could go somewhere, please take as many as you'd like. I don't have a huge staff, but these are all just for anybody that wants to sign up. You have to register to get your free portrait and free prints, okay? Thank you all very much for your time.
All right, Margaret. Thank you first, Margaret.
I just wanted to ask if we can put it on next month's agenda to get the 2 Middletown signs replaced, or is that in the...
That is on the agenda for next month.
It is, okay.
That's the thing I forgot. All right, we'll just stop on the comment and take it back to the board, and I want to introduce board member Mike Tabaki, who will introduce our guest tonight. Mike.
All right. I appreciate the turnout, and thank you, Lake County News, for joining us this evening. So, Mike Tabaki, and one of the many items that I lost during the Valley Fire was a DVD collection entitled The Art of Public Speaking. let's just consider this my final exam. Tonight's guest speaker is setting a precedent in the Middletown Area Town Hall. This is the first time a state senator has ever addressed this distinguished body. Senator Mike McGuire began his political career in the beautiful community of Healdsburg. He served on the city council, and I believe he was also mayor, correct? In the year 2010, he was elected to the Sonoma County Board of Supervisors, where he served and represented the 4th District. And of course, last year, 2014, we elected him to serve in the state senate. So this is a town hall, and I'm going to express an opinion. I believe Senator Mike McGuire's political star will continue to rise. So a little bit about legislation. During next year's general election, that will be November the 8th, there will be 2 ballot measures designed to legalize the recreational use of marijuana. And Senator Mike McGuire has been proactive. He has co-authored a bill which would create a foundational regulatory structure in the event one of those measures passes. Before I wrap this up, I do want to recognize Senator McGuire's scheduler, Jenna Von Esmar. She and I connected last April or May, and in early June or early summer, we both agreed upon this date, November 12th, for Senator McGuire to speak. And who would have known that after 2 months on September 12th, a fire ripped through Lake County, and it's changed the landscape here. And for many of us in this room, it has changed our lives forever. So, Senator McGuire, thank you for joining us, and welcome to the Middletown Area Town Hall. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Well, good evening. How's everybody doing? Is it okay if I stand here? Is that all right? And I may pace a little bit. I apologize. My goodness. First of all, I just want to say how grateful I am to be here this evening. What I'd like to be able to do, if it works for folks, is to talk about the response, obviously, to the Valley Fire. And we need to be focused on recovery, as the chairman had said. And what I want to make a commitment here tonight, and I've said this since the first night of September 12th when I was here, the state of California is committed now, and we're committed into the years to come. And I got to tell you, there are times where the state has not been nearly as active or engaged as they should have been here in Lake County. And I also promise you those days are over. And it is a privilege, truly, to be able to represent Lake County. And I feel grateful. And I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity. A few acknowledgments. I do want to say thank you to the board for allowing me to be here tonight. I'd like to be able to acknowledge Supervisor Brown. The man doesn't sleep. And want to say thank you for all of your hard work, Supervisor Brown. You are amazing at what you do. I do want to acknowledge Carol Hutchinson, who has done an incredible job, not only for the Department of Social Services, now with her other hat on as the Director of Office of Emergency Services. We are grateful for your work. I want to say thank you. We have representatives from the Office of Emergency Services here tonight, from State OES. They have done a phenomenal job leading up to tonight, and they're going to do an incredible job kicking tail here in the months and years to come. I want to say thank you to the chairman for being here tonight, and to the entire board of directors of the tribe. They have opened up their doors time and time again throughout this crisis, and I just want to say thank you and how grateful I am. We have also other members of the board of directors, along with the vice chair here, and of course there's Member Dodd and Congressman Thompson, who absolutely committed to this county as well. And finally, I want to introduce Carrie Lindecker, who I have the pleasure of working with. She's the district representative for both Lake and Mendocino County. I'm sure have seen her up. She'll be at Adventure tomorrow. I do appreciate all of Carrie's work as well. If it works for folks, I'd like to be able to quickly talk about what's been going on, particularly when it comes to the recovery efforts with the state of California. I'd also like to talk, as Mike has said, about other issues happening in the state as well, if that works for folks. And I know that we are late, so if I'm going too fast, feel free to throw a salt and pepper shaker at my head and tell me to slow down. You know, first and foremost, where I have felt frustrated at times, particularly for our district, and our Senate district is one of the largest in the state. We run east and west from the Golden Gate Bridge to the Oregon border. 7 counties and nearly 1 million folks are in our district. All of Lake County, all of Marin, all of Sonoma, all of Mendocino, all of Humboldt, all of Del Norte, and we got to give it up for Trinity County and Hayfork as well. My goodness. And again, extremely diverse, and what a privilege, right? There are 40 of us in the state Senate and about 1 million folks in each Senate district. And our top priority has been, over this first year, is making sure that Lake County has the resources it needs to thrive. And it has been an extremely challenging year, to say the least. 52% of all fire activity in the state of California has been in Lake County. 52%. And that is based off of acreage. Whether it was the Rocky or the Jerusalem, now the Valley. It has been extremely challenging for all of you. And that is why we need to continue the partnership. And I'm a firm believer that when we work together, we are stronger, all right? We're going to need to continue to work together here in the months and years to come. A couple other statistics. I have never seen anything like the Valley Fire, and I don't need to talk to all of you about that. Up here on the first night, remember calling Supervisor Brown. He was out directing traffic, trying to get folks out. Got up here about a little after midnight, met the sheriff over in Lakeport, and then we came over often. And it still makes me feel emotional, right? And I also feel an incident like this and a crisis brings out the best in people. And this is why I am a firm believer that Lake County truly has the hardest working folks in the state. When you talk about resilience and committed to community, it's incredible. And so proud to be able to talk about it every day with my colleagues and the folks across the state. And I just want to say thank you for your incredible work, and I know we got a lot in front of us, right? And the state has been here since day one. Office of Emergency Services immediately activated within about 7 hours of the outbreak of Valley. We had Jody Trapacero from the Office of Emergency Services embedded here in Lake County. Within 72 hours of the fire, the state of California advanced $5 million to the county to ensure that we're able to meet all services that are needed, particularly in the beginning of this fire. And that is why I say we won't quit until we are looking at full recovery. And that also means that we needed to be able to go out and raise some private dollars as well. And I'm grateful to our partners. We started the Valley Fire Relief Fund. We've now raised $2.3 million from that fund. We've distributed a little less than $1 million now. We'll be advancing in the next 45 days an additional $800,000 into Lake County. Obviously, we've targeted students. Every student who lost their home received dollars. Middletown, as well as up in Cobb and Anderson Springs. We are focused on providing assistance to those firefighters that lost their homes. We have been providing housing assistance through the North Coast Opportunity Center, $1,500 grants, through the Farm Bureau for individuals who have lost their animals and their livestock, to those firefighters who lost their homes, and we will be doing a significant push around the holidays for every individual who lost their home here in South Lake County. Now, there's some significant items still to come, and where we're focused with, in particular with the county, and this is, again, I want to say thank you to the supervisor and Ms. Hutchinson. First of all, we need to look at a long-term solution when it comes to the finances of South Lake County, and that is sales tax, that's property tax, that's bed tax, and in fact, we are looking at establishing our next call, and I didn't get a chance to call the supervisor today on this, on November 23rd with the governor's office, the director of CAL FIRE, the director of Office of Emergency Services, with the supervisor, along with the sheriff, of talking about long-term financial stability for the county and how we're going to be able to backfill those dollars that have been lost because of the fire. In addition, we need to continue to be absolutely hyper-focused on all issues related to mud flow, as well as erosion. And as what we all know, that the fire burned so hot that essentially it sealed the ground. And what we know is a 10-year rain event would produce nearly as much rainoff as a 100-year rain event if we saw that here in Lake County. So we are staffing the Helitack base full-time throughout the winter. We have additional CAL FIRE crews and engines that will be here throughout the winter for any emergency needs. And we've also ended all payments, about $2.4 million in payments that the South Lake Fire District has been providing to the state of California Fire Service. We are no longer collecting that, and at minimum for the next 12 months, to allow those dollars to be able to stay here locally. By the way, that's just common sense, right? We are making progress on cleanup, but we have a long way to go, right? 218 properties between Anderson Springs, Cobb, and Middletown have been cleared. As you know, there are 42 debris removal teams. Over the next few weeks, you'll see another about 12 activated, 12 to 13 activated, for a total of about 55 teams that will be clearing debris throughout the impacted area. Obviously, our goal is to hire locally. And I will tell you, Supervisor Brown is on my text and or phone every day saying hire local. And that is our goal. It is we need to continue to hire locally for any type of job, which is why you're seeing additional revenue coming in to be able to hire here out of Lake County. Just under $6 million has now been dispersed from FEMA for housing assistance, an additional $2.5 million for other personal property needs, and that number continues to grow on a daily basis. And again, I cannot stress enough that November 23rd date is the deadline to register. I know you've heard it. I just want to keep saying it. If you have not, if you have friends, family that have not, please do so here, and we'd be happy to answer any questions or talk about concerns. Would it be all right if talk about a few items related to issues going on in the state as well right now? Is that okay? And that specifically has to do with the budget, the state of California. The state of California is in its best position financially that we've seen, frankly, in about a decade. It was back in 2006 that we saw our last surplus in California. That was about a $4.5 billion surplus. Reason being, Google went public. And there are three ways the state generates revenue, or three main ways the state generates revenue: property tax, personal income tax, and corporate income tax. By Google going public, if you can believe this, one of the main drivers of our surplus back in 2006 is personal bonuses and personal income tax returns, as well as corporate income tax. Wow. This year we're about a $6.4 billion surplus, and it's because of our three main revenue generators are firing essentially on all cylinders. Property tax is up considerably, particularly in the greater San Francisco Bay Area and in the greater region of Los Angeles. Corporate income tax is at the highest level it's been in a decade, as well as personal income tax returns. And, which is really interesting, Bloomberg News has just rated California, despite our environmental laws, despite the regulations, the best place in America to do business for large business, which I know comes as a shock idea, but it's true. And we need to continue to invest, particularly in rural California. And that is where we see the difference. We are seeing two types of returns: significant return in our more urban areas, in areas where we live, whether it's Lake, Trinity, Humboldt, or Del Norte counties. we continue to be much slower than other urban areas, which is why a one-size-fits-all approach does not work for us when it comes to a lot of the legislative fixes. There are 4 significant priorities about how we're investing this surplus. Number 1, my opinion, and we're absolutely the best investment that we can make, strong public schools in California. And I will tell you, we have slipped from 49th in the nation to dead last in the nation in per student spending in K-12. Mississippi had always been 50th. We were 49th. Last year we flipped. Dead last in the nation. This year we're investing an additional $3,000 per student, kindergarten through 12th grade. We've invested $10,000 more per student over the last 3 years. That we'll go from about dead last in the nation to approximately 35th. We're still waiting on funding. We're focused on poverty. California has more kids in poverty than any other state in the nation. And what we've seen is, particularly during the recession, these poverty-busting programs were cut. And I was raised by my mom and my grandma, and we struggled. My grandma was a prune rancher, and if you know anything about prunes, it's not the most profitable business, hot damn, particularly nowadays. And we also grew grapes. And I saw firsthand, particularly with my mom, that poverty impacts women in this state more than men. 2/3 of minimum wage earners in California are women. And we have more women in poverty, which means that is one of the main reasons why we have more kids in poverty than any other state in the nation. We're reinvesting in poverty-busting programs for the first time in California in the last 10 years. We're focused on the drought. $2.2 billion has been moved into communities like Hidden Valley Lake. Hidden Valley Lake received about $200,000 for conservation programs this year. And we're also focused on fiscal responsibility. We have the strongest rainy day fund, our savings account. $4.6 billion is in our rainy day fund. It will go to $6.8 billion by 2018, thanks to voters in Proposition 2. Specifically on schools, just really quickly, I'm going to keep on moving. Everybody ready to go? We're going to do lightning round. Mike, you got a time on the clock? That's fine. All right, hey, there we go. All right. So let's just talk about schools really quickly. The other really big focus area that I've had are career training and job skill programming in our public schools. 72% of public high school graduates in California, 72% will not go on to a 4-year degree. Now, I'm a big believer, and I think all of us are, that every kid deserves to be able to go on to college. It should be accessible and affordable. But what we know is the data shows us the majority of students who graduate from a public high school will not. And we have shortchanged these students by not providing career training and job skill classes in our public high schools and middle schools. And even though I'm a freshman, I'm a rookie, we were able to secure $400 million, the largest investment in career training and job skill classes in a generation, which will now be pumped into California public schools for career training programs and job skill programs. By the way, it's going to be $900 million over the next 3 years. And that's important because as we look at our rebuilding here in Lake County, we need to also make sure that we have students who are qualified for those jobs in our new economy. Am I right? And the other piece is we also saw Future Farmers of America on the chopping block this year. They wouldn't be funded by the state of California, or ag science. And I got to tell you, I wasn't the greatest student in high school. And my mom still tells me that. But what saved me is being in FFA and in ag science. I loved it. And we need to make sure that we keep those programs intact, and these dollars will just do that. And in addition, we're focused on rural California. So just a quick statistic, I want to talk about rural school bus transportation. So we get hosed in the budget many times. An example is school transportation. Prior to the recession, we had $5 million that were allocated every year for school districts like here in Middletown, or over in Lakeport, that would provide school districts the ability to be able to purchase new school buses. And the reason why that's important is because rural kids have higher rates of childhood asthma compared to urban kids because they spend much more time on school buses. And what we know are these old school buses are among the dirtiest burning in the state. And we cut the entire budget. So the other area that we did is we focused on making sure that school districts like here in Lake County have those dollars so they don't have to decide whether to spend it in the classroom or spend it in transportation. We secured $5 million back to its historical high so that rural and small school districts have the ability to be able to transition their buses that will help kids' health and our environment as well, which we are really excited about. In addition, 7,000 new preschool slots will be launched across the state of California, additional 6,500 after-school program slots, and 32,000 new community college slots across the state. And the other really exciting piece, we're finally able to start paying down our damn debt. And I stopped swearing, I apologize. Real quick, we took out about $35 billion worth of bonds in the recession. We will have our last $3.5 billion payment. Next year, we'll pay off our recession-era bond debt in 2016, which is great. Mike is going to start giving me the hook, so I'm going to keep on going real quick. So let's talk about the drought. Some real quick statistics on the drought. The driest, according to NASA, the driest the state of California has been in 500 years. So we've seen that, quite frankly, with fire activity. Some quick statistics up in Humboldt County. We are seeing lightning strikes, particularly in the moist air up in Humboldt, Del Norte, Trinity. 20 to 30% of lightning strikes would actually take a response call out from CAL FIRE. This year, 70 to 80% of lightning strikes are mandatory call outs by CAL FIRE now. So even in our damper areas of the state, we're seeing significant challenges because of the drought. Unprecedented fire behavior, we keep hearing that. 34 acres every minute at the peak of the Valley Fire. 34 acres a minute. Unprecedented. So, we have to make sure that California is prepared for that. Which is why we moved $2.2 billion out of Prop 1 and invested in water conservation, water storage, and underground aquifer recharge, which we need to continue to do. 60% of our water comes from the snowpack in the Sierra. Our snowpack was at 6% of normal this year. And what we know is we're in a world of hurt if we see a 6th year of a drought next year, which is why we're advancing water projects. And a quick statistic about El Nino. We keep hearing about El Nino. We need 11 to 12 trillion gallons of rain to recapture where we were before the drought started. So we're going to need a few El Ninos to continue to hit to make sure that we actually recapture all of that water. And that's according to NASA. Really quickly, if we could talk about marijuana. Very exciting, a couple statistics about our district. We have more wineries in our district than anywhere else in California. We have more craft breweries here in our district than anywhere else in California. We grow more oysters than anywhere else on the West Coast, hot dang. And ladies and gentlemen, our district grows 60% of the marijuana that is sold in the nation. So, there are 4 counties that grow the bulk of that, right here in Lake, Trinity, Humboldt, and Mendocino. Now, voters passed Proposition 215 back in 1996 that allowed for medicinal marijuana. All right. The legislature then said, we're going to follow up with rules and regulations that would govern the industry. And that never happened. So what we've allowed is this industry to explode across the state. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and the largest industry in the state of California. It doesn't have any statewide rules or regulations. Now, I'll be the first to say marijuana has a positive economic impact in our district, but we also see all the challenges, quite frankly. The #1 source of sediment, dirt, in the Northern California rivers, coming from road marijuana grows. The number one source of nutrient loads, pesticides and fertilizers in Northern California rivers, rogue marijuana grows. The Eel and the Mattole River ran dry in Humboldt and Mendocino County last year because of our state's historic drought, because there are so many illegal diversions from rogue marijuana grows. And we also know that there's a significant violent element to this industry because it's been unregulated for so long. And that is why we brought forward the legislation, working with Assemblymember Wood and others in the State Assembly, that we were able to pass and the governor signed the most sweeping medical marijuana regulation legislation in the nation that will finally bring rules and regulations to what many have described as the Wild West. In addition, we are bringing forward the state excise tax on medical marijuana next year that will return dollars back to counties and back to cities to help with the environmental damage and law enforcement as well. We're looking at a 15% statewide excise tax on retail sale of medical marijuana across the state. And of course, as Mike had mentioned, we're also going to see some potential for recreational use ballot measures that are going to be coming forward. I'm not even going to go there at the moment. We're just focused on the medical side. Very quickly, in tobacco, I'm going to share a frustration with you. There are some sacred cows that frankly need to be gored from the cow. And that's the issue of tobacco. What we know is tobacco kills tens of thousands of Californians every year. And I'm not passing judgment, but what I will say, unreimbursed health care for tobacco-related diseases costs California taxpayers billions. We have one of the lowest cigarette taxes in the nation, 87 cents per pack. I'm going to give you some other statistics. Texas, $1.41 per pack. Montana, Marlboro country, $1.70 per pack. Washington State, $3.25 per pack. The city of New York, $4.35 per pack. And here's why I bring this up. The number one reason why kids won't start smoking, price per pack of cigarettes. The number one reason why people stop smoking, the price per pack of cigarettes. And the reason why I said we need to gore some sacred cows is because the tobacco industry spent millions this year to be able to defeat the increase of tobacco tax in California. And we need to continue to fight that here in the years to come. The other really significant piece of legislation that we advanced this year, again, I'm going to give you some quick statistics and I'm going to wrap up. Raised by my mom and my grandma, two amazing women. My mom worked at a bank for 21 years and struggled. And what we know is this. If you are, because of your gender, if you're a woman, you're making 78 cents to every dollar a male makes. If you are Latina, you're making 54 cents to every dollar. If you're African American female, you're making 64 cents to every dollar. 2/3 of minimum wage earners in California are women. And what we know is when we pay women well, families thrive and our communities are stronger. California just passed the strictest equal pay law in the nation. Starting in January 1 of 2016, as an employer, both public and private, you have to pay women equal to men for equal work. Some issues in regards to Lake County 911 reliability. We had in West Lake County when the Yahoo vandalized the fiber system north of Hopland, cut through. 911 went down in West Lake. Also went down in all of Mendocino, majority of Humboldt, and some in Del Norte. There is no law in the books that AT&T, Verizon, US Cellular has to report an outage. We had tens of thousands of people without service. Mendocino County is literally putting ambulances on ramps of Highway 101 so that when they get a ham radio call, they can get out to the area. This is crazy. And when we say this one-size-fits-all approach, we need a redundant 911 system in Lake County and rural California, and at the very minimum, mandatory report of an outage to state OES, the sheriff's office, and to the customer base. We need to start treating fiber cuts and phone service like electricity, wastewater, and water, and a mandatory call out to get the damn utility to be able to fix the line. And I hope you're with me that we need to be able to advance this year. The other item that we're working with Supervisor Brown on, along with Supervisor Farrington, is the issue of Clear Lake. What we know is when we have a healthy lake, we are going to have a thriving economy, and we are working directly with the governor's office, who nixed the budget this year, promised to be able to come back, nixed the budget this year, promised to come back in 2016 to finally secure some funding to help with water quality issues for Clear Lake. And the other item that we need to work on is transportation funding, whether it's public transportation or road infrastructure. Quick, I don't mean to end on a depressing note. We can talk more about oysters here in a second. We have a $79 billion backlog, local roads and streets in California. $79 billion. Our state highway system, just pavement. We're not talking bridges. Pavement, $59 billion. Look, I'm a Democrat. I'm the only Democrat in the state of California in the state Senate that represents a rural district. And I'm going to end this where I started. We are stronger when we work together. We need to work across party lines, Republicans and Democrats, to get the damn job done for California. And particularly on transportation, we have to work together to make sure that communities like Middletown, the county, have the resources they need to be able to invest in infrastructure. And I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican, it's about common sense, it's about funding our priorities. And that is why we all need to work together to make sure that Lake County has the resources you need to thrive. Thank you so much for the ability to be able to represent, and I'd be happy to take any questions.
I have a question relates to two things. First, the tobacco industry was able to stop a tax increase. We didn't vote anything down. Must have been the politicians that wasn't willing to do it. Is that true or false?
True. So if it's there's an ability to be able to pass a tax in California if 2/3 of the state assembly and state senate all agree on a tax. And it takes 2/3, which means it takes Republicans and Democrats working together. And frankly, it was Democrats that did not step up and support this as far as an increase on the tobacco tax.
So
and Republicans.
It's not the voters that caused it. Okay. Second thing is, when I was a young man in California, we had the best roads in the country. Absolutely the best. We had the best schools too, but I'm talking about roads. All of the gas tax went to building roads and maintaining roads. That was changed not by the voters, but by the legislators. And now they want to raise taxes again on fuel so they can build the roads and improve the roads. Is that true?
Well, part of the reason I will share with you right now, I do not believe that we need to look at split roll when it comes to Prop 13, but one of the reasons why we have lost some money is because the dollars are fixed when it comes to property taxes. So Prop 13 set that, and it provides stability for homeowners. I respect that. But that is one of the reasons why we don't have that. And just under 90% of the state budget is dictated by propositions. So there's very little money to be able to work with because we have passed so many propositions that dedicate funds to go to specific causes. By the way, a lot of these are really worthy causes like public education. But when it comes to actually trying to invest, it's very difficult because we have passed laws, and I get it, that fund specific areas within the budget. So it's not one specific item, but I think you're absolutely right. Over the years, we're now into a pickle when it comes to transportation funds.
We pay about, what is it, $1 or something per gallon for taxes. State taxes is less,
Yeah.
60 cents. But that's a tremendous amount of money. And yet we're, as you said, 10 or 12 billion dollars in the hole on improving roads. So, you know, if we raise taxes on gas, is that money really going to be used for improving the roads, or will it go into the great void and just disappear?
It's a great question. There, wonderful senator named Bob Huff. He is just now still in the Senate, but no longer the Republican leader. He is bringing forward a constitutional amendment that would essentially put transportation funds into a lockbox so you can't take transportation funds and spend them on street lighting, for example. So it would be very similar to what we have with Proposition 98 that dedicated the majority of the state budget to public education. This constitutional amendment would mandate that if it's a transportation dollar, it has to stay transportation. You can't funnel it somewhere else. I fully support that, and frankly, we should have had that a long time ago. And I should have thanked Lake County News, by the way. You talk about an incredible resource, in particular during the fire. Just want to say thank you. Yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. I didn't even call. I apologize.
That's all right. You go ahead.
No. Please, you.
You mentioned that there was $2.8 million being held back from the property taxes for South Lake Fire.
So I believe it's about a $2.4 million contract every year with the state. The state is saying that you don't have to pay.
So
I said 2.4?
Correct.
Yep.
Cool.
So $2.4 million will not be collected from South Lake this year.
Just for this year, fiscal year.
So we have the agreement for this year. I think what a lot, and this is now my own editorial, so please take it as my own editorial because we don't have a formal agreement yet. I think what you're going to see is, so for sure what we know is for the next 12 months, the fire district is not going to have to pay the state. For sure. Now, what does that mean for the fiscal year after that? It's still undetermined, but what I would tell you is we are focused on how to be able to continue to provide the same level of service with a diminished tax base. And that's going to mean, my opinion, is that the state is going to need to be able to suck it up and help. We are in active discussions on that now, but for this year, South Lake Fire District is not going to have to pay the state.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And we're also looking at enhanced service with additional personnel from CAL FIRE that will be here through the winter that typically are transitioned out, or you would have seasonal over the summer and the fall. We're going to keep them here. And rightfully so, because we are concerned about mud flow and about flooding. Yes, Vice Chair.
My question has to do with, well, it's a two-part really, because your reports on education is important because in my time, when I was in college, you had to have a high school diploma to get a good job. Well, now the trend is you're going to have a bachelor's degree to get a job. And that's where the trend is moving to. But the cost of college is still, I'm a single mom with 2 kids, 2 boys, and I've got one in college, and my student loans I'm still paying on, but my interest rate is 2.3%, but my son's interest rate is 6.7%. And that is not including, getting all of the free stuff too. It's just expensive. So, my fear is he's going to be paying his student loans, as long as I'm paying on mine, but his interest rate is going to be higher. But my point is getting the skilled labor into the rural areas because on Tuesday night, I was in the county's task force meeting, and one of the issues that was coming up was staffing in our county offices because, we have to get permitting, we've got to get the rebuilding going. I mean, there's staffers that have to do all this for our county, but, and us too, because we're a large employer at the casino. And it is hard to get skilled labor up here. It's very competitive for us as business owners to get the skilled labor to come
up here and work up here. You see, every morning you see a line of traffic going down the hill, and every afternoon you see a line of traffic coming back up, because all the jobs, the good jobs, are just right down the hill into the city. So I'm wondering if there's anything you as the senator can do on a measure or something to help us jumpstart our economy a little bit here, because that's going to be a real hindrance for us as we recover and we try and get the rebuilding going and so forth. And by the way, thank you for coming up and getting the Red Cross shelter started at the casino, because I know you were instrumental in that.
Thank you, Vice Chair. And thank you to the entire tribe and the Board of Directors for all of the work and for opening up the doors. I'm grateful for that. So I think on two fronts. First of all, I think where we need to start as a state now, as we see jobs that are associated with the recovery efforts, we need to be hiring locally. So I will tell you there's a process that we're going through right now, a hiring process of having Lake County residents, whether it's on the ground clearing lots or hauling debris away, where we want Lake County to be able to have these jobs first. And our goal is to see that 50% of all the positions that are coming through right now with cleanup are going to be going to Lake County residents. In addition, you're seeing additional dollars that are coming in for administrative jobs right now. What I would hope, and I know where Supervisor Brown continues to talk about, is it's never, we are always going to have the impact of the Valley Fire. But what we also need to look at is in the future, what could we do better in the future for Lake County? So that's why we're starting to talk about how we can invest in infrastructure, additional water systems or sewer systems that would help with property values. And if we look at one of the major reasons on why we have a successful economy, it's education. So we are hosting a meeting on December 16th in Sacramento where we have several representatives coming from Lake County with the superintendent of schools and the Department of Finance about how Lake County can get out in front of this $400 million. And by the way, Lake County is a member of a 6-county consortium that received $16 million last year with CTE programming, and Upper Lake High School has an amazing program that they're kicking tail with right now. But I would love to talk with you, because there actually are some opportunities for tribes to be able to leverage additional dollars. So I'd love to talk with you about that as well, if that would work. In addition, I'd also like to talk about the Indian Reservation Road Fund, because I think we could match state dollars bringing down IRR funds on the federal level too for infrastructure. So I'd love to talk with you about that. College affordability, it stinks. I'm paying off my student loans right now. It's expensive. 60% of all students who go on to a Cal State University or UC start at the community college level. And about 60% of community college students receive a Board of Governors waiver, a partial or full scholarship. Where I'd like to be able to see us go is make community college free in California. It's going to take $400 to $500 million a year to be able to do that. That's that 40% difference. If we can make community college free, it allows students to only have to be able to go after 2 years for UC or CSU. Or if you're in my case, 3, because it took me 5 to 8 years. I couldn't pass statistics. So, again, talk to my mom. She'll start cussing. So, long story short, I think that's where we need to be able to focus as a state, is how we can make community college free. Because what we also know is that if you're a career technical education student, out of 5 students that go on to community college, going for their AA in a CTE-related degree or a certificate, 4 out of 5 graduate from community college. That's why we need to make community college more accessible. It's the workforce of our higher education system in California, and frankly, doesn't get the credit that it deserves. So I'd love to get to work with you and the chair on those items, because I think that we can make some significant strides. I'm sorry that I yapped on for so long. Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned Anderson Springs, so I'm presuming thanks to Rob and Jim Comstock coming out there.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm sure you're also aware that the many lots that are on the creek that may not be buildable.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm wondering if, because in this case, probably time is at the essence, if there's going to be any funding available, grant-wise or whatever, for a sewer system out there.
You have read Supervisor Brown's mind. I will tell you I have no less than 26 phone calls and text messages from Supervisor Brown talking about that. And I mean that in all respect. And I really mean
Supervisor Brown doesn't have the money, you do.
Supervisor Brown, though.
I do, but it would clean me out.
And there we go. Okay. And the reason I say that is because he'd like to be able to see that same thing, plus additional punch out, so that we actually have two ways to get in, one way to get in, and another way to get out long term as well. So yes, it is being discussed. I will be candid with you. I don't have a solution for that yet. So here's the way this process is going to play out. Lake County will probably receive about 20% of the fire recovery dollar, 20% of the total dollar spent on firefighting coming back into the county here over the next few years. So, because we received fire management assistance grant dollars. How can we best utilize those dollars? That is a conversation that's currently being had with the Office of Emergency Services, the Department of Finance within the Governor's Office, as well as CAL FIRE. We have another call on the 23rd that's going to be focused only on two issues: long-term finances for the school district, for the county, as well as the fire protection district, and mud flow. I promise you this will be on our next call. We did have a call, I'd say 3 weeks ago on this issue, where this issue is raised. We have to price it out. The county does have some dollars that they've submitted to the state in regards to what they'd like to be able to see. I think it was $3.6 million. $3.6 million.
Also engaged with USDA, there's a possibility for somebody there.
For rural community grant or a loan. I would hope it would be a grant. So I don't have an answer for you tonight, and I apologize, but I promise you it's absolutely top of the list.
Well, one other comment on it, though, we don't want to have weed.
Right.
Where everyone, we know what happened there.
Yes, ma'am.
And we know how many people applied for permits, and we know exactly how many people built, hardly anything. And we don't want to see that happen in Lake County for everything that, and I agree with everything you said 100%, but if we lose 200 homes out in Anderson Springs, those people will be gone. It's not like they're moving to Middletown.
No. And that's what that's why we need to continue to have direct engagement with the governor's office on this, because I actually think we're in a more of a unique situation of what the potential negative long-term impacts can be for this county versus others that have been impacted by fire, right? And because the lots are so small up in Anderson Springs, because they were built so long ago, you're never going to be able to get in the riparian right away any longer. What can we do to make sure that folks are kept whole, right? And I also believe that once we have utilities, or if we have utilities, property values will also go up. So that is, we're focused on. It is, I promise to come back here, and I'm hoping to be able to report back on one of these items, in particular when it comes to sewer. But the county has been very upfront, 3.6 million, and they say that every time, 3.6, 3.6. So it's great. So I do want to say thank you. More to come.
Okay, I think that we're just about running out of time for the senator. We've got a couple other little things to do, but I want to, on behalf of the MAP and the town hall, want to thank the senator for coming and enlightening us on all this. I want to take time now to thank Supervisor Brown. I watched him over the years operate as a supervisor, and the best thing about Rob is you never have to worry or wonder what his stand is on any issue. You know right up front, and you can depend on it. And he has worked very, very, very hard on this fire and the recovery, working with our great lady, Carol Hutchison, who's running the task force for long-term recovery. It's a thankless job. I've been to the 2 meetings they've held, and it's a tough job, and I wouldn't want it for the world, and you're doing a great job, Carol. Thank you so much. over here. I have to tell the senator that in San Bruno, PG&E is universally hated, but in Lake County, they're universally loved because they came and did a heck of a job for us. Now, the people up in Cobb may have a different opinion about trees. I don't care about the trees. I care about the fact that on Tuesday, after the fire, they had 1,000 people out here that were trying to get power back to their community. So from us, PG&E did a hell of a job, in my opinion. And AT&T continues to do good work for us here. So we want to thank PG&E. I know PG&E is a big corporation, which makes them evil, but that's the way it is. So anyway, thank you again for coming. And we have just a couple things. We have some nominations for board members. We've had board members leave the community, and we have to replace them. One in particular, we have to replace, and the board has selected Margaret, did you say that? To replace the lady that she's going to, Charlotte. She's going to replace Charlotte on the board. And next month we'll have nominations for the board members that are running out on term. So welcome to the board, Margaret. If there's no more questions, I think on our agenda for December, we'll be talking in particular about the lights and about the signs at the ends of town. We lost both signs welcoming people to Middletown. For your information, our plan is to move the sign to the south on the other side of the Rancheria so that when you see Middletown, the Rancheria, and our friends are included in this community as a whole. So that's going to be our focus, to get that sign moved to the other side of the Rancheria, and then this one we'll have to decide what we're going to put in. We may have a little contest on design for those signs. So I'll be talking to Lisa Kaplan, the Art Center, you know, as much as it pains me. I'm only kidding. She tries to give me the Art Center every night. I held out, but I'll be talking to her about the design, and maybe we can have a contest, get a design that meets everybody. So with that, if there's nothing else pressing, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All right, all those in favor? Yeah. God bless you all. Thank you.